So hello, welcome to Vampire, where we are just meeting some new important people in the city of Hamilton. Last session we the group met Rodrigo Bertum, who is apparently a right-hand man of the Baron of Hamilton, and a little bit, peculiar, I think. He collected all the player characters from a club where Mist was performing with her band, and asked them to come meet the Baroness. And they all agreed because they realized might not be handy to upset the Baroness. And they have been driven to a mansion of the Baroness, which is a very straight, walled off with big concrete walls around it. Not very nice looking mansion. It's clearly just stomped out for luxury and not much else.
All right, then is Rodrigo going to show us in, or is he going to just wait by the car?
No, he will show you in. So he happily opens the door for you, the door of the car. Yes. Come in, follow along.
Before Amber gets out of the car, she's going to recover her face with her balaclava, and then gently carry Couscous out, and then let him just fly around.
And Gwenda says, she's biting on her thumb nervously. I guess we're going to learn about the foundations of, she says before pointing towards the building. I mean, I guess it's probably a bit roomy in there.
Let's hope there's not a bunch of extra room in the foundations.
Oh, you mean killing you and then stashing your body underground?
Yeah, possibly.
No. You're vampires. You're much easier to just stake and leave out for the sun, because then you'll turn to dust and we don't have to clean up anything.
Well, I mean, unless you want to just get a, what are they called? For a leaf blower, and then just goes away. Anyway.
We have people for that.
Gwenda says, I guess that would do it. And Brenda is going to basically just give a supportive hand squeeze to Gwenda to just sort of let her know it's all right.
And Rodrigo basically grins and finger guns towards Gwenda. I like oak and maple.
Well, I guess there's no more putting this off. Darius will go ahead and walk in.
Mr. Follow.
Gwenda saying, yes, wouldn't you know those are good materials?
Okay, Amber would just brush herself off, make sure nothing too bad is peeking through, and then follow in.
Rodrigo will chuckle at the puns that Gwen is making, and then lead them along throughout the house. It is a fairly immaculately clean place with white tiles mostly on the floor and on the side of the rooms. A little bit of natural stone, but not much. It's a very modernly decorated, modern but sparsely decorated mansion as you walk around in it. And eventually you'll come to a heavy oaken door, and Rodrigo knocks on it. And a woman voice comes from inside. Come. And Rodrigo then opens the door and enters and beckons you to follow.
Mist follows.
Likewise.
Same.
So, indoors, you notice a woman sitting behind the desk. I'll load up a picture for you.
Gwenda says, I guess we should try to be adorable. She quietly whispers to Brenda. Brenda just does one of those awkward ha ha laughs and continues to hold Gwenda's hand.
There we go. So I made the picture of the lady a little bit larger. So yes, she seems to be very busy working on something behind the desk. She is smoking a cigar, from what you can tell. It's just kind of at the moment smoking in the looking still in the ashtray, and yes, she basically seems to be wearing like a blouse, fancy suit, a tie. Currently, she doesn't seem to be wearing a jacket, though some of you might notice that the jacket is over a chair a little bit away from her.
Are there chairs set up in the room?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few chairs. Mostly are. She's definitely have had the biggest and the most comfortable one behind the desk. But there's a few like kind of leathery seats in the side of the room. There's 2 to 3 kind of office like the more luxury. Well, how would I say this? They're office chairs, but like they're fancy made. Like they're made of wood, fancy woods and everything. They're not necessarily comfortable, but they are stylish.
Like rich Corinthian leather?
So no leather. The chairs in front of the desk are definitely not specifically made for comfort, but they are made to look like classy.
They're kind of the modernist school where they're all hard surfaces and angles.
Yes.
Well, it kind of helps with stains.
Miss is going to be very polite and use proper etiquette. Having been through this in other areas. So what would be the etiquette roll for that? Etiquette plus charisma?
Yes, definitely. And I'll also I'll make this an easy roll for you. For you have actually met this woman before. You have been introduced to the Baroness since you have been in the area for a fair while. And possibly, let's see, Christine, you've been in the area for quite a while as well, yes?
Yeah, I've been in here for about 5 years.
All right, and
Actually,
yeah, you would also have had a curt introduction with the Baroness, as it were, which is kind of standard procedure for a new vampire in town.
Well, she's native to Hamilton. She's been a vampire in the area for 5 years.
1 success.
I suppose Gwenda and I should also roll our etiquettes.
Yes, please. Actually, everyone roll etiquette at this point.
Okay, well, I just have charisma, so...
May I do intelligence and etiquette?
I'm gonna say no here because you are not too. You're still very new to this and you haven't been introduced, so you basically are gonna stick with like what you know from normal etiquette. And yeah, in a quick pinch here, you don't have the knowledgeable ways of.
Okay, someone keeps
what-
rolling dice and it's very noisy.
Sorry.
Sorry, you were saying,
What was-
El Diablo?
So yeah, you also have to just rely on charisma in this case because you just don't have had time or the knowledge to really prep yourself for what specifically this woman might want. So
What was the DC again?
I have not told you.
Okay, well, hopefully, depending on this, I have at least one success, hopefully.
Likely 2 successes.
I've got one success as well.
So nobody really foo-bought it, at least.
Yeah, it looks like I have 2, and Gwenda has either 2 or 3.
Indeed. So yeah, Beatrice Fuller, which is her name, basically leans forward, gives every one of you a curt nod, and without saying anything, kind of motions for you to take a seat.
I will find a seat.
Mist will take off her white trench coat and put it on the back of her seat and then sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Would there happen to be a seat large enough for Brenda and Gwenda to sit in together?
You could probably have one or the other sit on your lap, but there wouldn't be a seat for them to basically sit side by side. It's only there's no couches in this room. It's only chairs.
All right. Well, Brenda would make sure the 2 were seated next to each other then.
I'll take the seat closest to the door. That'll probably be in the back of the group.
All right, and so Rodrigo kind of takes a stand right next to Beatrice, and Beatrice glances at him a moment, kind of frowns and goes, "Rodrigo, take your coat off inside. This is a house, not a proper detective agency." And Rodrigo kind of is kind of disappointed and basically walks to a little bit outside the room where there seems to be kind of a what you call it, where you put your coat on. I'm stupid right now.
Closet?
No, not a closet where you hang your coat on.
Coat rack.
Coat rack, thank you. So yeah, there seems to be a coat rack outside where he basically moves to hang up his trench coat and hat, and then he comes into the room and yeah, he's fully suited in his fancy Italian suit underneath. And he takes his position by Beatrice's side again. Darius also takes opportunity to hang his coat on the coat rack, I assume.
Probably just on the corner of his chair, but
Okay, on his chair. Okay.
Mist did the same, only with around the back of it.
I'm keeping my hoodie on. But I will lower the hood.
we're not interrupting anything, are we?
Nothing too important, else I wouldn't have called you here, would I? She takes a few sips she takes her cigar and takes a few puffs of it. She kind of seems to, she actually make me a perception roll for this detail. So that's
Sorry,
awareness plus, what's the stats again?
Intelligent, wits, resolve.
Probably wits here. Well, bravo.
Still typing mine out.
Bravo, everyone. You're rolling very well here. See nothing lower than 3 successes. So, the thing you probably all notice is... yeah, that's definitely... Well, Mist is very perceptive.
Yeah, she's got heightened senses active.
Ah, yes, that's true. Also, VT, I went through at least all the basics of the Fleshcrafter rules, and I think I've figured them out. So whenever you want to do some Fleshcrafts, we can discuss that. Biggest thing is a lot of Fleshcraft roles require the Bodycraft skill in the old thing, which is not a thing in V5 as we played. So I'm going to replace that one with medicine in most cases, and in some cases I might require a occult roll.
Well, I have medicine with a specialty of surgery, so I'm A-okay with that.
Yeah, and when first, like, I might give you, in some cases, I might give you surgery as a bonus, but not all cases, and especially probably not when you're actually dealing with vampire bodies. So anyways, what you notice is that Beatrice, the way she handles her cigars, she definitely kind of almost like bites it a bit too hard as she puffs it, and her fingers might hold it a little bit too tight as it kind of cracks the shell of the cigar. And, well, after a few puffs, she continues. So, introductions, as a few of you here are new, and it is called tradition to do proper introductions of all new arrivals to a barony. I am Beatrice Fuller, Baroness of this whole of the area of Hamilton and Burlington. It is a pleasure to meet you.
And it is a pleasure to meet you as well, Baroness. I am Brenda, recently embraced, I believe the word is, and my good companion here, Gwendolyn.
Yes, and already your sire has left town. I'd expect better of Janos. Gonna have a word with him when he pokes up his head again.
Sorry, what was that name?
Janos,
Ah, yes. Sorry.
your sire.
Yes. Sorry, I heard a different name pronounced.
My name, back when I was still alive, was Darius Vanderwall. Obviously, that ID doesn't work anymore, so I have ID that lists my name as Robert Black. You may use whichever one you prefer, ma'am.
Robert Black, how nicely generic.
My turn?
She motions for you to go, Mist.
Before I was embraced, I was known as Sonia Lawson. And as these people already know, my stage name is Mist, but my current ID has me listed as Veronica Kelly.
And Beatrice will say to Missy, yes, I know you well enough. You know that stage thing is going to become a problem eventually, right?
Oh, I move every now and then. Although it might be a bit harder now that my band has me being the front person on the displays.
That's a general thing. When you're standing next to a whole bunch of band members that don't age, that kind of starts to become, noticeable as one doesn't age. Maybe consider ghoulifying them.
Well, I mean, not to speak out of turn, but I have been practicing
You
my
do
surgery.
speak out of turn,
Sorry,
but
what was
I'll
that?
allow it. Continue on.
Sorry. Just as a potential solution is my surgical skill. I could make Mist look a bit older, perhaps, as time goes on.
I'll probably leave here in about 5 to 10 years. Find a new band.
You're a plastic surgeon, are you?
Surgeon in general, yes. About to begin my internship before this changed some of my plans, but I've been I've done some excellent work on cadavers.
Well, cadavers we have aplenty. Maybe you can do some good for that one. And she points her cigar towards towards Christine. Or Amber, as she is now known.
To nod her head toward the Baroness at that.
You're still only feeding on those pigeons, are you, Amber? Or other vermin?
Keeps me one step away from the one who embraced me, my liege.
Don't call me my liege. What are we, medieval times here? I'm the boss. Baroness happens to be the title, so deal with me as the boss.
As you wish, Miss Fuller.
One moment, I'm gonna roll on that comment, Gwenda. Maybe if VT can read it.
Gwenda very quietly says, would she put her on a short leash?
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you didn't send your sheriff to bring us here just for this kind of social call. You're surely far too busy for that, correct?
1 second before reply there, Hunter, or Desperado, sorry. Just rolling here, and I have to figure out how to roll again. Alright, so Beatrice kind of stops snaply towards Gwenda and go, "What was that?"
Gwenda says, and she's very nervous. Kara's still typing, but out of character, I'm wondering if Kara would be okay. Oh, she's typing. She says, "I can leave it alone if you need me to," she says softly. To which Brenda will sort of Oh shit! She already got in trouble once for talking out of turn, though. I think composure. What would I roll with composure to decide whether or not I'm going to?
Composure plus resolve.
Oh, so you can do 2 attributes.
Let me just see. 1 second. I thought that was different, but 1 sec. Ah, here's my sheet. So, I might say, honestly, in this case, yeah, I'm just gonna say composure plus resolve in this case. That seems appropriate. That or composure and etiquette.
Well, my resolve is higher than my etiquette, so if you were to remove the 2 last dice, I would have got a 6, an 8, a 1, and a 1. If you do
I'm
allow
fine
for
with
resolve, then a 6,
Yeah, I'm
8.
fine with resolve.
Okay. So I guess this is sort of a common sense roll. Would Brenda, in your opinion, speak up or not speak up in this situation, given the Baroness's earlier admonishment of Brenda speaking out of
How
turn?
is she going to speak up?
Basically, in Gwenda's defense.
In Gwenda's defense, you don't think that will be a good idea. You don't think you'll instantly get lynched for it, but
All right. So then at this point, Brenda's just going to give physical support.
you know what? I have an idea for this. I have an idea how to decide this. Let's roll her intimidate score. We really need to make some macros for this.
I think I have one. I've been working on getting the coding in right.
Honestly, if we can take a half-hour break between recordings, I'll be able to get you a fully fleshed macro.
Okay, we can do that. Because yeah, just the amount of D10s you sometimes have to copy is a bit annoying.
I've been doing. I just started copy pasting.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing, but that's still a very annoying roundabout way of doing it. So yeah, she is not that skilled. I mean, she's just a stupid businesswoman in a chair. She's not that scary.
That's a critical failure.
Yep.
No successes and a 1.
So
You
you're
probably just think she's hot.
you're suggesting that Brenda does think it's a good idea, then?
Yep.
Oof. All right. To which Brenda will sort of cheerfully and as her best skill allows her politely interject to say, please excuse Gwendolyn. Baroness, she's still coping with the changes, and her particular mechanism is wordplay. I'm sure to keep her from doing anything truly grievous.
Make me an etiquette roll plus charisma or manipulation, whichever you prefer.
They're the same thing. Yay, 2 whole successes. Theoretically.
All right, she's kind of like, okay, fine. Who is your sire? That actually, I have not been able to figure that out. I've not had word from anyone. and she asks this of Gwenda. The Baroness asks, basically she kind of motions to seemingly forgive your punny, jokey, but she kind of does go like, who is your sire actually? He should like instruct you properly, but I have not been able to find out at all who he or she is.
So Gwenda will point at Brenda. Says, "I guess You mean the bite? It it was a bit. It inspired confidence in me." And Brenda will kind of square her shoulders and pull down her jacket vest ever so slightly, doing the Riker maneuver, and say, "If it so please you, Baroness, I will take on the responsibility of being the official sire of Gwenda. I must admit, I don't know the full responsibilities of such a position, but I am very willing to learn."
So Beatrice Fuller kind of sneers at Brenda. There is no official being a pet daddy sire thing. If you want to teach her, fine, go ahead. It might be smarter, that'll survive longer. But who her sire is, that is more the question. A sire, you either have a sire or you're not a sire. And so from what I'm gathering of you, you're a caitiff. And she kind of gives a sneer at the word caitiff.
Gwenda says, "If it was a warning, it would be a siren."
And what was that roll for, Amber?
I think Bob's testing his macro.
Yeah, the testing the macro I found.
Looks like it worked.
Problem is I can't set the difficulty on
Yeah.
it if needed.
Yeah, the 7 should have been a success. So
Honestly, I don't even need the success. I can always determine that on, whatever is needed. So long as I can just press out, like, I want to roll this many d10s, I am happy with that.
Yeah. Trying to find a way to get it nice and clean, but this was the best I could find so far.
It's already pretty good there, Bobo.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we can work with that if it is easy to type in. Anyway, any response to that caitiff question?
She did say or, so I imagine there was something else she was coming up with.
Well, it's just a cative or something, pretty much.
Do you want to try and roll Gwen's Rainy Auspex powers to see if she can define the definition of cative?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. Let me just read up on aspects on that level. You can also always also roll on occult in this case. That's 3 successes, and this is not terribly hard. Okay. Yeah, Gwenna, cative. I can actually look the actual definition of the word, but cative are vampires that don't know their origins. They sometimes are absolutely. They can either be like that they don't. That they just don't know their origins, so they don't know their sire, or they might even be completely clanless vampires, which is a rare thing. Regardless, cative are not well liked in vampire society. For one, they are usually not well understood. For two, if the sire doesn't stay with them, it is kind of suspected there's a reason for that they're garbage of some kind, that there's something wrong with them, or three, in general, if they're particularly set up pure blood stuff, yeah, once again, they regard them as filthy, degenerate mudbloods. And they won't generally kill you outright for being a cative, but as said, it's not something
It's
a
like
good
being
thing on your side.
It's like being sinless in Shadowrun. It's like no one's going to weep if you're suddenly dead.
Yep. And I'm just going to look up the actual word for cative, because I remember it's actually an Italian word, and it actually really nicely describes it.
Gwenda says, I couldn't be, she says, thinking before biting on her thumb again. I know my sire, so it's, so I guess catif. We aren't that, we must be something else.
What?
Quick out of character. Does anyone in this room know what Malkavian? Thank you, Malkavians are, because Brenda doesn't, so Brenda can't suggest Malkavian.
Occult Footswits?
So maybe somebody wants to.
Maybe I'll roll wits because I don't have a cult.
Blood. Can someone look up blood sorcery for me?
A 7 and an 8 for knowing what a Malkavian is. And what do you need for blood sorcery?
A taste of blood. A taste for blood.
I can look that up real quick.
I want to find out.
And Amber, you definitely know what a Malkavian is.
Yeah. Miss Fuller, if I may.
You may speak, Amber.
I think I know what clan she might be a part of due to her behavior.
Well, give me your inspiration here then. She sounds a bit sarcastic. And smokes more of a cigar.
Considering some of my associates with those I'm around, she might be a Malk.
And Rodrigo will reply to this, Malkavian. Very quiet then for a Malkavian, but this possible. There are, I think with this low life, no life, that have been running around in Hamilton around the place, there have been a bit of trouble around the mental institutions with little rogue Malkavians just going about biting away and then feeding their dark blood to others. It's quite a mess. I think I got a rang on it though, Miss Fuller. Now, I just need to find out who exactly was planning to steer the no-lifers, and then trace it back to probably the New York coteries, who they're probably... And Fuller kind of at that point kind of cuts off Rodriguez, and yes, I'm sure your whole thing goes further, but first, trace down the links here, instead of going off to New York and such.
Gwenda says, mess. It would be a mystery.
So at this point, Fuller kind of stomps her fist on the table, like, all right, fine, you're a Malk. Please stop it with the stupid punny jokes. Or I will press out the cigar in your eyeballs.
So at this point, Brenda's going to basically do everything in her power to get Gwenda to calm.
Okay, so introduction's done. That's common courtesy, everything. So now I know who I'm dealing with. Yes, I called you here for a reason. As you might have heard, the city is getting a bit full, and we had what Rodriguez just said with a whole bunch of loose Malkavians and then no-livers embracing willy-nilly, and I have to then make this place whole livable and see that everyone gets a decent meal without the Second Inquisition all showing up.
Could I roll
bloody idiots.
Could I roll Streetwise to know my take on this, considering I have 2 points with the no life, low lives?
Definitely, and
okay,
I am going to give you that those points with no life, low lives. I'm going to give you that as a bonus on top of this roll, and then roll Streetwise and. Intelligence or wits.
Well, it's going to be the exact same, so either way, it's going to be a 6-die pool.
Okay.
Ooh!
Holy shit, yeah, that is a very good roll. You know that the threat of the Second Inquisition is definitely a real concern. And there has been like some embraces have not been approved by the Baroness as such, but that's more due to her hands-off attitudes than really a wild plague of people being embraced. There's not been mass embraces or anything like that.
So it's due to a lack of enforcement on her part than it is people being all Wild West.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, honestly, like there is some areas that might be a little bit overcrowded based on hunting areas, but honestly, it is not that horribly overcrowded. It's more that some if kind of communist sounding, but some vampires are just taking more territory than they need for their necessary hunting terrain.
So okay, so it's not the it's at least from my point of view with the low lives, it is mostly the Baroness not doing her job to maintain and control her territory. Okay.
It's not so much her not doing her job as it is, but this whole complaint that she's making, like, she has not been doing much to prevent it.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly,
Yeah,
she's overstating the problem.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna say that out loud, but I'm just gonna put a pin in that. Make that later. But
Make a note of that later to say that to people who might be more willing to listen.
Yeah.
On the plus side, I suppose if the Second Inquisition does show up, we'll have plenty of living space in very short order. Those of us who are still, living.
Yeah, but make some notes of this real quick. Token?
Yes, unless the Camarilla then decides to ship off their unwanted people over here.
Well, then we'll
From
all
Toronto.
be dead, and then we won't have any problems, I suppose.
Oh no, then we'll definitely have more problems. People think I am a hard ass. They haven't seen what the proper princess in Toronto will do.
That's fair.
And she kind of steps up from her chair and kind of turns around, talking. And you might notice that her physique. Everyone actually make me a medicine roll plus wits, or an awareness roll plus wits.
What, not intelligence?
No, in this case, not intelligence.
Awareness, wits, and aspects.
Wait, it should be 4. Why did I say 5?
4.
Did I gonna hit 5?
Ooh, Kara with the double tens.
Okay, so just take the 10 off of my first roll. Accidentally hit 5 instead. So it's a 1, 4, 7, 8.
2 successes for Amber. Mist has 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. That's pretty good.
Gwenda with the triple tens.
Gwenda with a lot of 10, so she definitely will notice. Brenda with the 1, 2. Yeah, 2 successes. She'll probably notice this a bit.
But Darius only has 1, so probably not.
Thankfully, I have medicine.
And Amber too. Okay. So, for Darius, she's just your average woman. For the 2 hitters, she definitely she definitely seems a bit more, she's definitely in good shape. Now, honestly, since she's a vampire, that might tell you not that much, but she definitely is not a dainty lady under that blouse. And for the 4 hits, you might even notice on the back of her neck, she has a bit of a combat scar there and such. So you probably can see from the way she stands and the way she stands that, she is definitely capable of a fight.
Yeah, if I do my math right there, Gwenda nailed 7 successes.
Which
Yeah,
is
it's 7 successes.
Which is very appropriate for Gwenda, because Gwenda just sees things.
Yeah, she's a little too aware.
So yeah,
crazy one, or
I'm even going to
we?
say, Gwenda, you might suspect that some of the scars look like they may have been claws, possibly some. No, that's too strong a word. So that's definitely claws of some not natural animal. So you suspect that, she has done some fighting in her unlife as well. And And for a scar to remain on a vampire body, that's had to be some special claw. So anyway, she stands up, turns around, and kind of says, like, in Toronto, sometimes they think of me that I'm the hard ass, but I'm a potter. I am clay. I see this whole society of ours as clay, and where needed, I will squeeze the clay hard and mold it back into shape, a proper shape as it should be. Those Camarilla boys in Toronto, well, they just play everyone as puppet masters, and they don't see society as a nice form of clay that needs to be molded into something beautiful. They just want to make a nice puppet show of this whole thing to entertain themselves. So, enough of my musings. Why I called you here? So yes, we have a lot of vampires. Not too much space, so I had to redistribute some areas and define some hunting territories. And you, whole little new group, I have you have all come up to be put together in one little territory, and that'll be yours to run as you see fit, so long as you do it properly and don't require me to thump the clay back into shape again. You understand me?
The traditional "don't make me come over there" system.
You got it right there, Mr. Black. I still like that one.
Brenda will nod in understanding, or at least what she thinks is understanding.
So, and she kind of turns around a computer screen on her desk, kind of seems to load up some data, and you see much the map that you have in front of you here, a nice Google map.
Okay.
So I have, and she will mark down a little area, which I am going to do in a bit. One moment.
Good thing is, I'm not going to take up much of the space. You guys are going to get a lot of buds, though, in your new area we have to move to.
So yellow was your haven, right, Amber?
Yeah,
Yellow
there's the other
house.
one right down here.
All right, good. Okay.
Red was mine.
Green is way out in the boonies, which is the Desperado. I don't think I ever saw where VT's and Kara's was. Oh, there it is, over there. In the purple.
The party house.
Oh, it has a fill. Now I have to remove that.
Oh, it's going to be a chunk of downtown then. Okay.
So what you might want to use for the tools is the draw straight line tool, and do use a fill, but you'll see a symbol that is a black and white circle that says opacity. Drop the opacity to something like 35%, and that way you can highlight an area. Or if you just want to click on the area, I can do it for you if it gives you a little trouble.
No, thanks to your instructions, I am already figuring it out. One moment. You know what? It's not pretty, but it's fine. So yeah, she marks end. So this little area here, that'll be your hunting area, where you can impose your own little rules for that territory. And don't go wandering about outside it. I'd like to keep this thing orderly. So yeah, that is where you're allowed to hunt. Oh, I suppose if you just come down to suck pigeons away or something, I don't think anyone will oppose that being done in other territories.
And what of my herd?
Let's see. What is your herd exactly?
Is she asking or you? As
The DM is me. I'm just
2 points.
opening up the sheet because how many points of herds it is.
2 points of herd.
Okay, out of character, do you know what zone you just highlighted?
No.
All right, most of that is a park in an area where there used to be a mercury factory.
All right, that's very fitting then.
Oh God! And the space to the right of that is a recycling plant, and just south of that is the hospital. So we are just out of range of the hospital. Fuck you. This is like a big, huge middle finger to our characters. This is like a really small space with a population total of, I'd say, less than 100 people easily. Like we're maybe lucky if we've got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe about 20 residences, 20 homes, and these are small homes, like single-story homes. So good luck finding families bigger than 2 to 4 people in those, especially since families don't generally live in that area unless they're low income and forced to live in that area. In the north,
in the middle of a park, though.
However, there is one massive benefit for us. The northwest corner of that highlighted area is the Collective Arts Brewery. We just got permission to hunt in Hipster Central for beer.
So there's a lot of drunken hipsters some of you guys can be feeding off of.
And not only that, Collective Arts Brewing also does concerts. So like when Nickelback comes to Hamilton, that's where they play.
All right, so some positives and a lot of negatives, and for some people it might be very much garbage territory. That actually fits in with my purposes perfectly. And VT, you call it a fuck you to your characters. I call it a challenge to overcome for your characters.
We're gonna have to make some talk with some of the new neighbors, though.
Exactly, that could be one step.
The no-knife lowlifes are not gonna appreciate their territory being cut up like this.
Oh, we also get a fire department. One of the fire department stations are there. So
hey, some of you guys might enjoy the yearly calendar then.
Well, I mean, paramedic vehicles also stationed there. There might actually be blood bags and whatnot.
You just don't have as easy access to the bags.
No, it's a very secure facility, but it's there.
Yeah, so...
And of course, I'm sure given a little bit of time, if Diablo chooses to, he can tweak this a little bit, since I'm sure in real life it wouldn't be this perfect square.
Yeah, well, I actually think somewhat it would be very square, because I'm not going to have you roll for this. What you suspect is happening here, that, yeah, this is basically just, she is taking a map, just drawing through it, just chopping up the territories, and this is not done with terrible care. This
is the layout is she designing for the getting better or worse than when the gerrymandering here in the US when it comes to that layout in zones.
Oh no, gerrymandering is done very purposefully. They very carefully draw out the
I meant at
gerrymandering
least by-
territories.
I meant by at least visually, is it like in the shapes?
No, it is a lot better. Like you suspect, you see kind of like the rest of the thing. You think she's just making kind of a spreadsheet and just assigning a lot of squares to certain empires. So it is being done.
Basically
being done
gridding
more-
off, not doing it in a direction that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Europe divided the Middle East and Africa at the end of the colonial era. Just going, we just cut it off here, but that's where the tribes don't live long in that country. Fuck it, don't care.
Yeah, okay, so
There-
that could give us a hint to how old she is.
Well, also how much Burlingtonian cares about a Hamilton area. But there's one more thing I gotta say is right next to the Collective Arts Brewing is a park. And I did a Dresden Files role-playing game a couple of years ago, which was also set in Hamilton. And the GM had it that the vampires and the werewolves were going to war over that park.
How quaint. But yeah, as Emma's looking over that, she's gonna speak up. I'm gonna have to introduce you all to the neighbors then.
And to come back to Mist's character, I see 2 points of hurt. Have you, Mist, have you thought up exactly what type of people these hurts are? Are these people that live with you or don't live with you or just regulars? Can you tell me a bit more about them?
Don't live with her, but they are regulars.
Right, so they would be regulars, probably at the bar that we were just with the concert, the This Ain't Hollywood bar.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that probably would be okay, but you might sometimes have to explain if you feed it that you're feeding outside your assigned territory. Best would be to just ask your herd over to the area where that is and feed on there, then there should be absolutely no problems.
And that is going to be one long trip for Brenda and Gwenda.
So if I'm looking at my Google Earth here correctly, you're saying basically this is more or less centered around the Central Park, VT?
Yeah, so I think that's what it's called. My map doesn't actually have that park. There's Jackie Washington Rotary Park just to the side, and then I don't know. This park doesn't have a name on my map.
I just saw a bit of green, and I did want to include a bit of park area in to the territory, which is.
Well, it makes sense if it's not actually a recognized park, because you see all that gray on the corner of Ferry and Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the factory was. That was the Mercury facility, and it got torn down. Thing is, it didn't get proper environmental cleanup at first, and a child ended up dying because some kids went into the area, found puddles of mercury, and started throwing them at each other.
Those are some
Oh,
stupid
Jesus
kids.
Christ.
Well, they didn't know what mercury was. They were children.
How old?
Children, like 8 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, I could imagine myself if I saw a puddle of mercury at that age that I think, oh, cool, liquid metal, like Terminator.
Yeah,
Scott's
so
drinking it.
yeah, it's not a pretty bit of history, but it's like, well done on picking such a fucked up place for us to be. Like, damn, you just
Hope you
had to.
guys don't mind pigeon, because that might help you all out.
But see, good luck on pigeons in this area. The problem is pigeons live downtown where there's tall buildings. In this area, the tallest buildings are factories, which the pigeons don't actually like because even pigeons have standards.
Well, the good thing is though, I still live near enough ice, so I can at least provide you with some of you guys need to.
I mean, okay. What you do have is dogs. There's plenty of dogs, I think, in the residential area here. Maybe cats. Yeah, we've got lots of cats. Rats. Nope, definitely some rats. Yep. So pigeons, maybe not so many. But we're close to the harbor. You might get some seagulls. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Seagulls.
I was too far south. So the hospital's kind of to the what southeast on the map.
So of that highlighted area, literally just under the yellow on the. Oh, here, let me use my pointy tool. Whoops, that's the wrong tool. Edit, undo. Here we go. The hospital is right here. So, yeah.
Either way, the feeding grounds is normally used for normal vampiric prey, not certain special feedings like vegans. So it's
Indeed, as Beatrice said earlier, like as you said, probably vampires won't mind you preying on some vermin around here. And she motioned mostly towards Amber in this case, so indicating pigeons and such.
Well, and also the crime rate in that area. There are B&Es because again, it's low income housing. It's the crime rate isn't like if you want to go really high crime rate, you got to go further east. But crime rate in that area, yeah, no, there's plenty of B&Es.
And you mean breaking and entering by that, I believe.
Yes, sorry, yes.
I thought for a moment you were saying Vietnamese. I'm like, VT, isn't that kind of racist?
Well, actually, if you want to go to the Vietnamese, you have to go further south. If you go on, what is it, Barton and Cannon? It's Cannon. So yeah, you gotta go south a little ways. But nevertheless, we're in not the worst possible place to have a hunting ground, but it's not ideal. We do get one perk in the form of the Collective Arts Brewing place, but honestly, we can't do all of our feeding there because that would be pretty obvious. But concerts, would be a good thing to basically be, oh, there's a concert going on. Oh, hey, here's some drunk people. Why don't you go back to my place? So we have that opportunity at least. But otherwise,
yeah. So Beatrice kind of introduces you to Sadie's area. So she's kind of like, yeah. And if you need to move your haven or something, I suppose I can figure out some housing down there.
I live close enough that some of them can bunk with me if they need to in the intermediate times.
So Lynn raises her hand.
Mm-hmm. And Beatrice points her cigar at her and motions to speak. That she has permission to speak. And I was like for a moment, who the hell is Lynn? But apparently that's also part of Gwenda's name.
So she pantomimes unzipping her mouth first so she can speak. So, what about school? I guess. I mean, do we have to move? It would be a bit moving of an experience, she says before zipping her lips again.
You're still going to school? That's not gonna last long. Move or not move, that I don't care. Just don't go getting whole bunch of people bitten outside of that territory I just assigned to you. Else some of the other vampires might get territorial, things get messy, and I need to then clean up things, thump the clay a bit more back into shape.
Out of character, I'm just actually saving a zoomed in version of the map, and I'm going to import it into Map Tool in just a minute.
Alright, that would be very nice.
Of this area? Okay.
Yeah. And Brenda will tentatively ask the Baroness, are we permitted to bring people from that area home to feed in privacy and then get them back to that area somehow? Is that permissible?
I think no one would object to that. That would not cause trouble, so yeah, go ahead with that.
Wonderful. And out of towners, is that also acceptable? People who are just visiting Hamilton.
Based on
Mostly just-
territory.
You know what? Just discuss this with whoever your neighbors end up being.
Oh,
Who knows?
yes.
They might be fine with you landing in their territory. I doubt it. They're all the old territorial vicious bunch. But who knows what you can arrange?
Thank you, Baroness.
As for me, I'll probably just feed off of my herd.
Well, if you can hold them, and for of course for how long they stay alive, they are mortals after all. They eventually all decease, and then you need to replace them. And I'm fine with you replacing them, but then replace them from proper stock, not poaching on others, please.
Well, my current herd, who was in, I don't know if they're from that territory, but they were my herd before we were assigned this territory. But I have your permission, so.
Any more questions of you, lot?
Should we be in contact with your sheriff if we have any issues that come up in the future?
Yes, I suppose that's fine. You can get some contact information of Rodrigo, and Rodrigo will speak up here and go, "Oh, I will know if there's trouble. Don't you worry, I always know when there's trouble." And Beatrice gives Rodrigo a kind of irritated look at that. Yes, but still, let's do it. Let's be the usual way and exchange numbers, please.
I work off a burner, so my number's likely to change. If I need to get in contact, I'll probably go through one of my new friends.
Mist looks over. You can always send a homing pigeon.
Yes, homing pigeons. You should, if you have more of those, you should lend me some of them. I'm quite interested in homing pigeons.
Hmm. I haven't been training any of them for that, but if you wish, I could see if I can go about that.
Sure, you're not training them for that just yet.
I mean,
Well,
that's what I
we'll
get in
see.
return.
Well, I'm sure it will be something that'll come up in the future then.
So a favor then.
Not a favor directly. Just something I think will come up. Anyways, yes. Do you have more questions for me? More of my time to waste, or are you understanding of the situation?
Pretty good. I think it's just be best that that's pretty much in my backyard, so I think if it's okay with you, let me double check the last name again. Miss Fuller, that before it gets a bit too light outside, that I give these others the quick run of the territory.
Yes, I have no further questions.
I'm used to the whole politics thing. I'm good on questions.
And Fuller goes, "Oh, I'm not very political. As I said, I see society as clay that needs to be shaped every now and then to keep it into a nice shape. Hopefully, eventually it'll harden and I don't have to dirty my hands on this anymore, but sadly that doesn't seem to be coming very soon."
Thank you so much for your time, Baroness. If there is anything else we can help with in the future, I'd be very eager to do so.
A fine offer. I'll keep it in mind.
All right, I guess Darius will stand up and take his coat and start heading for the front door.
He gives, or Beatrice gives everyone a curt nod, and then she motions to Rodrigo, and quickly says, "Escort them out and bring them to wherever they wish to be in Hamilton. Right, Rodrigo?" Rodrigo, "Yes, wherever they wish to be. I'll be very curious to find out where that'll be." Yes. And Rodrigo also moves out of the office and gets his coat and hat again.
So Brenda is going to immediately kind of pursue Rodrigo after politely excusing herself from the Baroness's office, and also making sure that Enda is in tow, and will do her best to politely ask Rodrigo about the possibility of there being some consenting meals available at this time.
That's gonna be a tricky one. Make me a. Are you asking this? You were asking this very politely, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. Make me an etiquette and charisma in this case, then. And mind you, this will be a harder check.
Okay. But do I still get that +1 to charisma to Rodrigo from last session?
Yes, I'll give
Okay.
you this one. Yes, this one.
Oh, there's the Hunting Grounds map. Let's go take a look at that.
How does assisting work in this game?
I am not sure if there's clear rules for that. I would
I think it's
have
called
to look through the
teamwork.
books.
I was looking at that earlier. Let me check.
Oh, look, there's a candy store. Ah,
So the old Mercury, it's kind of right south of the fire station where the building used to be.
If my memory is correct, I might be wrong, but I'm 80% sure that's the site.
Well, given that when I looked at it on Google Earth, it pretty much screams to me somebody's been cleaning up environmental damage here, it's probably a good bet.
And bear in mind, this happened 20 years ago. I think I was still in high school when it happened. Possibly, actually, you know what? I might have even been in grade school when it happened. So it might have been 25 years ago.
Is that a law firm?
Sorry, where?
Parrish and Heimbecker Limited, next to the craft beer store.
No, that's just one of the so that whole building is the beer place. So everything on that building is related to beer. So it's probably the office for one of the breweries.
Okay. So, as Bobo just posted the teamwork rules, basically you roll the largest pool among participants. So in this case, that would be Lynn, since she has 5 dice from what I see, and Brenda has 4 dice. And add 1 additional the additional die for each character assisting the thing. I'm just going to say that is going to be a success die that you add to that. So that would in this case be 3 successes. Because as I said, this is a bit more difficult. So you would need a 7 to succeed here instead of a 6.
So Lynn says, of course, if you think that we wouldn't need to eat, I suppose that we could try to wait until we get to the bloodbath and beyond. But I thought you said we could get food?
Of course, fine. I'll take you along to some of my regulars so you can have a bite to eat. But only because you're a nice fellow, Melky. And Rodrigo kind of pats Lynn's head.
Well,
that's something interesting to know. Also, why would you put a Malkavian as your sheriff?
Because he sees things, apparently.
Or is this more of a show of her not being giving too much of a shit of manning her territory properly?
Or it's just because he's really effective at the job. Just because he's Malkavian doesn't mean he can't kick people's asses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can actually allow me to, with this knowledge, make me an insight plus. Let me see. Can I roll that? Make me an a insight or an occult roll plus. Let me give this intelligence or. I want to do something different than wits, so I'll give resolve for this one. So intelligence or resolve.
Let's do either way.
is this everybody or just them?
No, I think everybody heard the fellow Malky. I think everyone, all the characters that, basically every character that finds this interesting or different may make a role in this.
Two successes.
So a roll from Amber. Ah, there we go. No, Amber
I
doesn't know
know
shit.
nothing about this. I don't care.
That is a critical fail. Ouch.
You probably think he's just messing with her, saying that he's a fellow Malky. You don't believe him.
Yeah.
But for the rest, for Darius, and because Darius has only one success, and Lynn has two. Oh, yeah, Lynn has two. So for Darius and Lynn, this is indeed rather odd to have a Malkavian. Like, Malkavians have that whole madness thing, so they are rather chaotic usually. So does that really seem wise to have that as a sheriff? And also, they're not indeed the regular ass kickers. Missed also one success, so two successes. But yeah, same thing. Brenda, you figure this out because you have 4 successes and almost a lot more. From what you you noticed that Baroness Fuller was a very tough woman herself, from what you just got. So maybe she doesn't need so much support for ass kicking. Maybe she actually needs support for, indeed, people plotting against her, spy masters and such. And Malkavians, well, yes, they're rumored that they know things that they are not supposed to know, and they are very knowledgeable, have a second sight, even some say. So this Rodrigo might be very good at uncovering secrets.
That is helpful to know. Thank you.
So yeah, do you figure out that Rodrigo probably is not so much the ass kicker type of sheriff. He's probably more the spy master type of sheriff.
Which, to be fair, in the vampire world, is probably the more useful type of sheriff.
Okay, my macro isn't working quite yet, but I'm getting there.
So to at least finish this off before we take a little break, Rodrigo indeed takes you to a house. Basically, he drives you around. Eventually, takes you on a house that's kind of on the edge of Burlington, almost in, well, not wild area, but kind of where you see the words Bayfront Bay. Do people see that on the map?
Almost Bayfront Park.
Oh yeah, Bayfront Park, sorry. So above there, he would have, below the Royal Botanical Gardens, he would have like a fairly nice standard house, and he would take you inside, and there are some very dazed up people there that kind of like, hey, it's the Rodrigos and the Dinko Dogonico, my amigo.
Brenda's going to take a deep sigh and say, is there one here lucid enough to give informed consent?
Oh no, they're fine. They just have that way about them. They're a fun bunch. Yeah, we're a real fun bunch. So you are other, like, feedy sucky friends, right?
Yes, I suppose that is the way to put it. Yes.
Oh, cool. Does it feel good? Good when you do it too?
Lynn will say fun, like a fundamental question about it. And Brenda's like, well, I got lost in the sucky one time, but oh well. My dear Enda and myself are just a bit hungry, so we're wondering if those of you here are interested in having a bit of the sucky from us, or us. Goodness, this is so different than my usual.
It's all cool, that lady. Yeah, sure. I think the master's okay with it. And Rodrigo goes, oh, yes. Oh, one moment. And he kind of seems to run to the bathroom and comes back with a little white box. And then goes, you have to bite in this first.
May I ask what that is? And Lynn saying, that makes it awkward. Like, that comment blows. Get it? And she'll look at the box.
Rodrigo seems amused by by Lynn's jokes, and then Rodrigo will go, "Oh, that's tooth cleaner."
Is it cocaine?
No, it's dental cleaner.
And Lynn's like, "Oh,
But what a roll insight on that.
yeah."
Roll an insight on that.
Okay, insight plus what? Intelligence or
Who was in there?
For this one, wits, and
Wits,
you could
okay.
also just look at the box. If you do that, roll me medicine plus medicine or science plus intelligence.
Nice.
5 successes.
Lynn says, so like this is the crest thing ever? Or is it more like Cole Gateway drug?
Where does she keep coming up with them? You must have a very funny little voice inside of you. And Brenda, yep, this is tooth cleaner. It is basically it's basically toothpaste in a box. It even probably has the word Colgate written on it.
So deeply confused, Brenda's like, okay then, and will sink her teeth into the box and somewhat nervously share it with Enda as well, who seems very eager apparently to clean her teeth.
I'm guessing Amber, Mist, and Darius is outside doing this.
Probably.
She
Rodrigo
says,
hands you, then after you bite it, hands you basically a tissue paper.
okay, and Lynn says, I always wanted to, she right before she partakes, brush up on this. But yeah, is there any obvious immediate effects other than our teeth are now whitened?
No, your teeth are now nice and clean. And you have a nice minty breath, a more minty breath now.
Not
Except
that I
it
can
seems
necessarily
to be
taste that.
mainly rich.
All right, well, who would like to be my
Sucky?
beverage this evening? Are there any volunteers?
Basically, all of them seem to be fine by it. There's a gentleman that's fairly eager, who spoke to you earlier. But there's also a lady two ladies on the couch apparently playing video games. They seem to be very much fine with this, but they're also kind of involved in their game, so they haven't spoken too much.
Well, I'll go for the vocal one then.
And Lynn?
I think she's typing at the moment. Is there any rule we have to do here to like prevent ourselves from overfeeding, or is it just it's an automatic process?
It kind of depends how hungry you are. I don't think either of you have used any powers this night, so you would not be terribly hungry.
Lynn did, remember? She was using Auspex in the bar.
Okay. So yeah, Lynn might be a bit hungrier.
But I don't think any of you are hungry enough to just willingly start draining a person dry, as it were.
I am going to make... let me see what roll that is, because you usually need to make a hunger roll.
She did enjoy a blood bag earlier. She just wants that to be known. Lynn says, if you wanted to ask who wanted to help drink, would you take a straw poll?
So Rodrigo blinks at that one. I don't understand it one. You want to drink with a straw? I mean that's pretty mean, you know. That's not cool.
She says, 'cause straw, drinking. Sorry if it wasn't your cup of tea.
I mean, ramming a straw down someone's throat, that's pretty painful, you know? Pretty vicious. I mean, that's some Sabat shit right there.
She's like, no. To which Brenda is going to stop drinking, and she says, a straw poll, Rodrigo, is a particular type of way of determining what people want.
Yeah, I know that, but I think she wants to make a straw joke. Can you just finish this up? We do have to get going.
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for your hospitality and generosity, by the way.
And I'm going to ask Lynn to make a composure check.
Which I think is based off of how much willpower you have.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Just make me a willpower roll.
That'd be
That is no critical failure at all, so yeah, you're perfectly fine. And you know what? Just to be fair, I'll let you roll. I'll have you roll willpower as well, there, Brenda. Yeah, you're perfectly fine as well. So yeah, you just nicely feed up on these. Well, they're not stoners, but they do seem they're a weird bunch.
And having partaked their blood, do we gain any of their attributes in way of highness?
They're not high, so no. They don't have any particular substance inside of them.
So they're just kind of nuts.
Yep.
Is that because they're the ghouls of Malkavian, or because the Malkavian went out of his way to find people who are not altogether there?
Possibly, who knows? Actually, I'm gonna roll one thing on this. Because I'm thinking about it and there might be one thing with luck. Oh, wow. Okay. Actually, yeah, you do get some effect.
God damn it! What?
So I don't quite know what the effects of this are on a normal human being or on a vampire. But they're basically they're on ADD medication.
Almost all ADD medications are some variety of stimulant. So, see amphetamines.
Mm-hmm. Joy of weak version of meth.
All right, so
Same here. It's not pleasant.
Same.
once again, I equally don't have knowledge of what the effects of meth are, but yeah, some very light version of that, because you also have to figure out we're vampires, so it also is weaker than that, and then this is a weaker version of meth, so it's not that grand of an effect, but you might notice something.
You know, I've been thinking about this way that I could actually modify the traditional aspects of the surgery to also incorporate some of the diet. Sorry, what was I saying?
And with
I
that
don't know.
wonderful feeling, you get to have a nice car ride down to, well, basically he's going to drop you off at your newly assigned hunting ground. And I think during this ride, we can take a little bit of a break.
The last thing, though, before you stop the recording, Lynn says, I guess you could say we ready to get going because we can go back to square one. Sorry, I mean, we can build upon the blocks where we're going. But yeah, I think at this point we can stop the recording. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try and finish up this macro. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of trouble because I want to make sure that it can have a target value, but I'm going to have to rethink the logic to make sure that I don't. That's actually going to calculate results properly.
All right, so yeah, we'll probably after this, when we return, we'll probably do half an hour to maybe an hour still. Then I probably have to go to call end the sessions because I don't want to make it super late.
And make sure to turn off the recording.
So hello and welcome back to our little game of vampire in the campaign that doesn't really have a name yet. I'm thinking a little hunk of Hamilton. Oh well, we'll think on it. Anyway, yeah, you arrive at your little prescribed destination where, Rodrigo lets you out of the car and then so you go. So, yes, I suppose here is a number you can sometimes reach me on. Don't think I'm at your beck and call or everything. Don't abuse it, as it were.
So I'm guessing he's probably dropping us next to Jackie Washington Rotary Park.
Yeah, I think it would be somewhere on the corner there.
Okay.
And Brenda will say, I hope that we can someday have a friendship, Rodrigo. So I would, of course, never abuse you.
Yes, friends, a very curious concept. We'll see how that works out, but not a popular thing amongst, the kindred. Anyways, have a nice night, and don't let the sun bite.
Thank you so much.
And then he drives off.
Okay.
Sorry, you had
Oh,
something?
Yeah, I wanted to make a roll to see exactly who I know of the no life, low lives that wook this area, considering it's right in their territory.
Yeah, for that, make me a streetwise plus your connection, your thing with the no life, low lives.
Yeah, my mala.
So Lynn says, "Son, that would be a bright idea not to let it hurt us." Brenda's going to turn to the group and extend her hands in a kind of everybody hand motion and say, "I'd just like to apologize for earlier. I think we may have got off on a bit of a wrong foot. So I just want to say that I want to make sure that we're all going to get along. And anybody wants to, they can roll insight on me here because there's
Before
what
that-
she's. Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, before that, I want to handle off Bobo's roll first, else that'll get
Yes,
lost in the shuffle.
that's good. That's a very good
Bobo,
point. Sorry.
yeah, so as I said, streetwise with wits and your mala score.
Okay, so that is 6 again. What would be the DC?
I'll say 6 as usual.
Okay, 6. 6. 6 no, is 4 hits.
Yep, indeed. So this is not necessarily area where any of the big wig no-lifers of the party, like Ernie usually operates more to the area. I'll just mark it down on the map.
Okay.
Draw tool, and let us draw not a square, but regularly. Okay. That's wrong. One moment. Oh wait, it keeps making square. That's the problem.
Some of you are fucking giants.
I just made my token that big so it's easy to see on the map.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind people making the token a bit bigger, but see, because yeah, it's all abstract anyway.
Yeah. I have mine set to huge, and that seems to be working pretty fine.
That's too big. 1 second.
Mine's currently set for large, which is also a noticeable improvement. Versus large. Large is probably the best compromise between precision and ease of use.
So Ernie usually operates over what I just drew over there. We're sometimes going a little bit more into the downtown area like this.
Sorry, on which of the two maps did you draw that on?
On the main Hamilton map, it
Ah,
should be.
okay. Sorry. Okay, I was on the Hunting Grounds map. Whoops.
Oh, I have not seen the Hunting Grounds map yet. Ah, yeah. So yeah, this is a very nice bit in of our territory, and we can use the main map as kind of the overview of Hamilton map. So that's also handy when dealing with neighbors.
But yeah, earlier I was saying that green area slap in the center of our hunting territory, to me at least, to my admittedly non-expert eye, says somebody's trying to control rainwater runoff in that area, which is a pretty good, combined with all the asphalt and building foundations, is probably a pretty good indication that that's where the remediation was.
Yeah. But before we start exploring, there's something you all need to know.
And the
Just want
area I
something?
drew over here, that's basically main territory of the no-livers.
Mm-hmm. Does that include official or official and unofficial?
Well, no-livers are kind of, I mean, they're not very organized or very official. They're mostly just territorial and roam a bit, so it's not all too official, but if you definitely move into the dark red areas, you'll definitely have more than one vampire breathing down your neck, as it were. And yeah, the light red one, you specifically know that Ernie operates a lot there, so I'll just drag his token over there.
I was mostly referring to officially recognized by the Baroness, as it were.
Do the no-lifers even have official relationships with the Baroness?
No, not much official. They do have kind of a truce. So
It is a faction the Baroness is aware of.
Yeah. So she probably is not making too much of it. But if it was officially assigned to the no-lifers, not so much. It seems like her determination was not so much set on gang, but just on random, on random individual vampires, as it were.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Amber would make sure everything's squared away, see what back around the mortals, make sure her Kavla is set, and again reiterate before we start exploring and checking this area out. There's some information you need to know that the Baroness kept from all of you.
I'm hardly surprised.
Welcome to Vampire Politics.
Exactly. Hence the reason I'm not surprised. Anyway, what did you want to fill us in on?
The problems that the good Baroness has been having is she's kind of escalating, blowing it up more than it actually is. The overcrowding is not really an issue, mostly because it is more of just territorial conflicts, as it has yet to be primarily coordinated off as to who belongs to what and who belongs to whom. But that's mostly because our good Baroness has not been enforcing vampiric rule and order like she should be for a person of her position.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she's a Baroness, not a Camilla Prince. It's not like she's going to start taking any random person who steps out of line, I hope.
True, but she still has someone to answer to.
Who's that?
Well, if you're a Baroness, that means there's someone higher up on the food chain.
Len will say, but I mean, if there are rules, then isn't she a ruler?
Yeah, make
Yes.
me a politics or a let me see, politics or occult roll for this, and you can use intelligence, manipulation, or wits in this case.
All of that is just going to be 2 dice, as I don't have politics or occult. So all of this,
You
anything
can
I know
also
is just going to be.
politics. You can also use leadership, I think, in this case.
Don't even have leadership. So again, this is what. So if she gets any successes, this is more secondhand knowledge and her actually knowing.
Okay.
6, 2, 1 hit.
Holy moly. The dice are with me on that roll.
Darius, you're a bit more knowledgeable in vampire politics than I am.
Be fair, I am older than you.
So it can be occult plus intelligence, occult plus wits. Wait, it could have been intelligence? Well, shit, I could have used intelligence. Well,
Yep.
sorry, I didn't hear intelligence. Or politics. Politics or occult. And wits or intelligence.
So wait, if I type in the stat, it comes up as that?
The first box is the one that you put in the name. The second box is the dice number.
Oh, okay.
So for anyone with 1 hit, you're not entirely sure if a baroness has a direct person that they answer to. A baron or baroness. For anyone with 3 dice or more, there is no official head above a baroness. What is usually the case that they do sometimes kind of have, they kind of need to keep the favor of powerful vampires in the area to kind of remain in their position. And usually, especially in the case of Beatrice here, as you notice, yeah, she kind of has to keep the Camarilla at bay. So she kind of has to play appeasement with the Camarilla.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Out of character. Aren't we lucky that appeasement has never had any bad effects ever?
Be right back, sorry.
But yeah, so it sounds like she has her position is dependent upon her basically not letting either the lowlifes or the Camarilla run all over her and keeping them happy enough. Long silence while we wait for Bobo to get back.
Well, do we have a chance then for Brenda's role?
Yeah, sure. What was Brenda rolling on again?
Well, Brenda's not the one rolling. Everyone else should
yeah, the
roll
insight on her words. Yes.
Insight plus what? Intelligence, wits.
That's up to the GM because I'm not entirely sure. Basically, I want Brenda's words were what she said, but if you really want to know what she's getting at, you need to have that judge motive kind of thing. So
Is she actively hiding? Is she actively hiding what she means, or
no.
is she kind of double speaking?
It's not even double speak. It's more she said what she said and she meant what she said, but for people to read her motivation into why she said it, kind of thing,
Did Diablo just go kaput?
Did you not hear me?
No, you just said and then went quiet.
Ah, that's odd. Okay, what I said was that would be either insight plus manipulation or insight plus wits. And I hope, okay, that did come through, okay.
2 successes.
Like only one for me, but this isn't my forte.
Yeah, so I think Mist might get at least some semblance of the fact that, well, Brenda really does feel that they got off on the wrong foot, and she does want everything to go smoothly from here on out. Brenda is the sort of person who thinks she's better than you. And it's not that she's trying to put you down, but she can't help but feel the way she feels. Oh, is the Bobob back? Crunching into the microphone?
Sorry.
You should also roll, what was it again, El Diablo? Insight
Insight
plus
plus
wits
manipulation or insight plus wits.
One hit.
So at this point, it's only Mist who gets really any kind of inkling about it. But Amber and Darius, at least subconsciously, might feel they don't like Brenda. It's up to you, of course.
She's been around worse people, literally. And trust me, at the moment, there's no way Brenda can get anywhere near the top of her shit list right now.
Yes, I'm guessing somebody else occupies that spot.
Yes. Now then, besides what the Baroness has said, there's something you need to know. Our territory right now is right next door to a major faction in this city.
Joy.
A faction I happen to be a member of.
I wasn't aware there were other factions in this city.
Yes, I'm pretty sure, and I can hear the sarcasm there.
No sarcasm. I mean, there's no Camarilla presence in this city. Thankfully, no Sabbat presence.
No, it's they call themselves the No Life Low Lives. I joined them for survival after abandonment issues. They are former members of the you said it was, when you mentioned the backstory, you said it was Camarilla, right?
Nope, Sabbat.
Okay, yeah.
Most of their founders were low-ranking ex-Sabbat members.
Mm-hmm. They were all former members of Sabbat before the head honchos left. Now it's sort of the lower people on the totem pole suddenly found themselves in a major promotion, as they now, well, they become the ones in authority. But it's sort of no longer just Sabbat, even though it has some Sabbat leanings. That means anything to some of this new blood.
With how long Mist has been around, she probably knows about the Sabbat. Refresh my memory on them.
The Sabbat. Formerly, they were the biggest antagonists of the Camarilla. Basically, they rejected Camarilla rule mostly because, according to them, they were puppets of the elders and would basically become blood food for the elders eventually. The Sabbat themselves were basically pro-vampire supremacy. So they actually wanted dominion over humankind, so they were not that concerned about the masquerades, though they still were smart enough to keep themselves somewhat hidden. They were basically they were on a big plan to basically, their end goal was to diabolize the elders, to make sure that they would not be eaten by the elders themselves. Well, as I said, they don't care much for humanity, so they were very vicious bunch. And a couple of years ago, most of their elders seem to have suddenly all left for the Middle East and to wage some kind of great holy war or such. It was suggested. It's all rather mysterious. And a lot of the elders of the Sabbat have left, and thus a lot of the younger members were left behind.
And if I'm understanding correctly, the lowlifes are kind of the ones who got left, not only got left behind, but decided, the old leaders of the Sabbat were just too uptight for them. So they just they don't stick real tightly to any sort of principles of the Sabbat, although they may still have lingering attitudes.
Yeah, like I said, there's some minor leanings toward the Sabbat, but they're not like the Sabbat of old.
Yeah, they don't seem to have the whole supreme dominion over humans. Like, the humans are their prey, obviously, but they have they basically don't seem to work hard on establishing vampire dominion or anything. They're just more like gang mentality.
All right, fair enough. And
like, this is our territory, and we take what we can take.
And you're saying our territory doesn't overlap with them; it's just right next door.
And it is next door to them. In fact, one of them is next door to a major player who's a friend of mine named Ernie. Thing is, some of them may make use of it, have made use of this area, and we need to crack down on that because this is now our territory. If we don't, they're gonna walk all over us, or something else will. Welcome to now practicing vampiric gang politics, everyone.
Fuck.
What was the fuck?
I was drawing some territory and accidentally I had the eraser on, so it deleted your territory.
Alright, so what you can do is you go up to Edit, Undo.
Control Z.
Yeah, that doesn't work. You have to actually go up to the button.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Lynn says, are they going to gang up on us?
Yes. They will if they find themselves they can earn something from it, or someone just wishes to snap some territory.
You said this Ernie guy is a friend of yours. Anything he can do to lean on them and keep them in line? I don't particularly look forward to having to fight an entire vampiric street gang, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, that is something we will all have to speak with Ernie about, but I will make sure to arrange a meeting as soon as I can.
All right.
Because right now, we've just been granted territory, which means we've been granted a vestive of some form of power, which means others would covet it.
All right. Anything else we need to know about our new stomping grounds?
Honestly, no. That's pretty much what it is. Just that I just thought you should all be well informed, as some of you are new bloods and some of you are out of towners.
Lynn says, that sounds territorial.
Oh, what am I worried about? Her puns should be all the weapon we need to keep anyone away.
Yeah.
And Mrs. just face palming. Another possibility is that this is one of the Baroness's ways of opening up more room. The vampire on vampire gang vying for territory.
Pretty much. And then she would see who is the most useful to her, as though strong shall call the weak rise.
So
Something that the vampires have been known to do before.
I'm gonna level with you. Sabat, Camarilla. These words are kind of new to me, frankly. But I find that you give people a little and you take a little and negotiate. Maybe we just rather than feeling antagonized by these neighbors, you say you're friends with them. Maybe we can make inroads. Alliances. Is that not an option? Are we incapable of being on the same side?
By being on their side, will we put ourselves against the sides of others?
Yes, I guess her point is that we're going to end up stepping on somebody's toes sooner or later. Now, hopefully it doesn't have to be these particular people, but sometimes being a vampire sucks.
Oh, hey, I thought she was the one that made the puns.
No pun intended.
Yeah, sorry, but you kind of did. All right,
Yeah.
but no, look, I mean, maybe we should try and position ourselves as negotiators between the various factions. I mean, I don't know. It just sounds like way more trouble than it's worth to try and fight anybody. No, does that not sound like a pain in the ass to all of you? And
No,
Lynn says, I guess that one is gonna bite you in the arse.
I would 100% agree that it would be a lot easier, but we would have to earn the respect first to make sure that when we say this is neutral ground, they will respect that it's neutral ground.
So basically, good plan A, but we should be prepared to have a plan B and maybe plan C or D, because plan A doesn't always work. But that's all to worry about another night.
Yes.
And
Let's just get a feel of this place and take a look around and see what's of interest and what could be an asset for us to make use of.
Yes. And by the way, could you and I have a conversation later, Amber?
Oh, that was on my agenda tonight. Trust me. Darius, you and me are
Very
going to have
well.
a nice long conversation.
Brenda's gonna whisper to Lynn, saying, I think they're DTF.
Oh yeah.
DTF, down to fuck.
Darius, meanwhile, checks his watch and makes sure that they will have time for a long conversation before sunrise.
Yeah, we actually should probably take two of that. How far along has the night been so far?
So, well, you had your concert, which I figure started around 9 p.m. or so.
And that was only like at most a 15-minute drive if he was going the speed limit, which in this area nobody does.
Yeah, so we had the concert. How long would your concert usually last, Mist? Are you like a quick ram bam, thank you ma'am band, or are you more a longer performance band?
You had like a set of 7, was it?
Yeah. 7 songs, with the last one being Angelic Apocalypse.
So 7 with an average of 5 minutes per performance. You're looking at 40 minutes to an hour if there's enough filler.
Yep, sounds about right. And with Rodrigo collecting you and everything, and maybe grabbing some foods and drinks, whatever.
So midnight.
So yeah, I think at this point it will probably be a little bit past midnight, so around nearing 1 a.m. Let's say that.
Okay, so we have a few hours left.
Yeah, we're to cover a lot of ground.
Anybody happen to know this area and can lead the way?
So Brenda's just gonna like hold up her cell phone and point to the Google Maps on it. Remember, she's a millennial.
So is
Yeah.
the blue? Yeah, blue. That's our entire territory.
Oh,
Yeah,
the square
the
block.
new map that VT made, you can count that pretty much as your territory.
The blue area that you
Okay.
marked on the main one. Is that entire thing our territory?
Yeah, the greenish square in that would be your territory. The bluish square around it is kind of, it is kind of maybe, it's all a bit maybe territory of the no life, low lifers. They kind of had members running there, but it's not really perfectly hot. It's not hardcore defined as their territory.
Yeah.
Unlike the
That's why I
Dark
said-
Red, which is pretty much their main stomping ground. If you basically if you go there, you will run into them, guaranteed almost.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it
which
is
is-
possible Miss just had a run in or two with a no life. No lives. Because the bar that she tends to concert at and her home are both in that territory.
Yeah, you probably have had some run by, and before there has never been a territory issue with you on being there or doing whatever your thing was there.
But now you have a staked claim, which is a difference.
Yeah, which means I have a bit of an issue around my house. Yeah.
Also,
Which means-
people make me a politics roll plus intelligence for this.
Okay, I don't have politics. This is just 2.
And don't worry, in future sections, with your territory now established, I will also bring in more combat rolls. But yeah, this first bit is a bit more social.
One
Yeah,
success.
my guys normally bait around sneaky streetwise stuff, so a lot of the
Yeah,
smart
that's-
stuff, not too much.
That type of stuff will come in ahead now
Yeah.
that you actually have
One hit.
basically the setup for the campaign
wait,
set
sorry.
up.
Sorry, that is a
Critical fail.
critical fail on my part. On
Oh,
the
Depending
politics.
on what the threshold is, I might have 4.
Yeah, Brenda is very good here.
I got 1 hit.
And 2 for Lynn.
All right, with 2 hits or more, yeah, you probably have to indeed before it might not have been such a problem because there never were really all that defined territories. What now might be the case is that you now have a Slake territory, and the Baroness might be doing the same with other people in the area. So there might be other people that suddenly have a assigned slated territory, and they might get a lot more territorial over that then, because they're in a similar position as you are.
So just going to put this out here. Is there any code language that vampires use that I might not be up and knowledge of? I'm just wondering, if I print out a few flyers, walk around the local neighborhoods, and put up a little sign saying, "Hey, we're new to the neighborhood. We want to be friends." Is there a way to make sure that only vampires answer that?
There was vampire symbology, but I have not seen anything in 5th edition that continues that.
No. Yeah, okay, you don't seem to be all that well informed, so you may have heard mentions of the Second Inquisition.
Okay, I get it. I get it. There's probably humans that hunt vampires, so it's not at all surprising now that
Oh,
I
no,
know.
no, no,
Government.
no. Let me
Va-
clarify. No, that's just
Vampire
it.
government.
Yeah. The Second Inquisition includes people from things like the NSA and the CIA. Any code that would be even remotely useful for something like that, they would have cracked in an hour. And that's if we made a new one and nobody knew about it.
Is that
Even
this is all I see, by the way, Desperado?
yes.
Okay.
In fact, from what I understand, even using certain words that aren't common in regular conversations, things like Camarilla and Sabat, during a phone call or email can be enough to get a message flagged.
As why this is it when Amber would hold up. Why I carry a burner.
Uh, for one thing, between vampires, and this is only by spoken word, never written. Vampires call each other kindred.
Oh yeah, like I said, there are definitely special words that are not part of common usage, kindred, Camarilla, stuff like that. But those are all also flagged as keywords by the Second Inquisition's intelligence people. So printing them out on flyers or sending them out on emails can be a good way to attract the very wrong type of attention.
Cool. Okay. Well, fuck me in the Alps.
Wait a minute, what was that expression?
Fuck me in the Alps.
Appellation?
The mountain range. Anyway, any fucking way. All right. Do we have like magical powers where we can, magically call up our neighbors? Is that a thing?
I think there is, but I sadly do not have any of those powers.
I possibly could end up with some.
The closest
As
I
of
have
right
is
now.
that the closest I have, and she just holds out her finger, and you see a pigeon just come out from nowhere, probably from a tree, and land on her finger. I can send you a carrier pigeon.
Pigeon. Okay. Carrier pigeons. Why don't we use carrier pigeons? I mean, that's got to be something, right?
Do you know how many pigeons I would have to ghoulify to make a decent amount of that?
Look, I'm not saying we do the whole city. I'm just saying the local, like, a really awkwardly shaped part and parcel of Hamilton. It's got four sides, right? So maybe there's like four, maybe eight at most that you need to send out.
Oh well, if we can find out who's been assigned to those territories, we can simply, give them a phone call and maybe ask to meet face to face, since we can't trust phones necessarily. So
Yeah. I can
Just
make
what the Baroness just did with you guys.
Yeah. So what would be a good way for here is I'll need some time, but I can probably get at least each of you your own little pet bird, so we at least communicate a little bit like that this way if you want to use modern technology. But I can also try to do this here. Thing is, I still need to know locations of other people that I could probably send this to. And at the end of the day, they're still underneath my power because they're my ghouls. Speaking of which, new bloods. Ghouls, you know what those are? Yes or no? As she turns to look at Brenda and Lynn.
Lynn says, I guess that would make the bird the word. Yeah, ghoul. All right. You know what? I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in anything. I know what a ghoul is in terms of mythology and movies and anime. So I'm guessing it's probably based on this.
Yes, it is. At least what I know from my veterinary expertise I have is that when a kindred shares their blood with a mortal who has not been embraced or not part of the embracing, it acts like a form of like drug/steroid for them as they become stronger, smarter, faster, and are able to heal much faster, but it has a massive addictive quality to the entity.
So wait, shouldn't that be called Renfield then? Because like I always thought ghouls were people who like got really decrepit and creepy and had to eat corpses.
I wasn't the one who named it, and I'm not gonna ask the higher generations if they why.
And to be fair, I've actually heard Renfield used as slang for human ghouls before, so
Yeah.
hooray.
Cool. Okay.
Renfield might have actually been based off of a ghoul.
Yeah. How that pertains, and this is what pertains to at least when they're a human. When it comes to an animal, they are much more simple. It becomes more of a form of domination when it's done right.
So Al is going to ask, isn't that zombie or am I way off corpse? Hey,
Out of
don't-
character.
that's out of character.
Out of
Grown.
character?
Okay.
No, just like out of character. Would any of our characters know the fact that they're legitimate undead in the World of Darkness setting? Not
We are
vampires, we're
undead.
talking like actual zombies.
Instead of unliving, undead.
Yeah.
Well, I think who has been in Hamilton the longest of the group?
5 years for my character in Vampire Age.
5 years for Mist in Vampire in years, but she has also been a vampire for much longer.
Okay.
So you've been locally 5 years as well then, okay.
Okay. I'm guessing then Mist. Mist might definitely know she's a bit more worldly in this world of darkness, as it were. She has heard rumors that there are certain clans that basically have dead-like servants.
Okay.
That
And out of curiosity, werewolves.
I think that would be one thing that sires tend to teach us about is if we run into a werewolf, run.
Yeah, I think basically everyone's sire, almost everyone's sire probably has warned them. Even Brenda's sire, who left very quickly, probably warned them that don't go outside the city. There are horrible monsters called werewolves there that can tear you. That as soon as they see you, they'll rip you apart.
Yeah. So I'll at least bring that up. Zombies, this would be Amber. No, because I've never really seen an undead, well, or something zombie-like since I've been like this. But
I've heard rumors.
werewolves, they exist. Ghosts, they exist. All those supernatural creatures that go up in the night, they probably exist.
I've
You
heard
probably- yeah.
rumors of undead, of zombies and the like, but usually they were some type of magic from some clans have the magic to bring a corpse and allow it to move. But
And
I
those
personally
horde
have
creatures,
not witnessed
those
this.
hordes, and also those horde creatures that those Zimitsi freaks make.
Doesn't the Miss
Yeah.
would say in character?
I don't
Yeah.
say anything in character. I'm not here.
No, I'm just saying if Zamichi is something that Miss is aware of, would she mention those?
Well, yes, that will be up to Mist, but she would be aware of them. Fuck.
And-
You know, Amber, you might know a few Zimitsi.
And I can't say for sure what Zemitsu do because I personally, out of character, don't know.
Yeah, okay. I'll
So
say
I can't
this.
say.
As to okay, let me fix that. Also, I mentioned the werewolves and ghouls, werewolves and ghosts. I'll still say that. But as for the zombies, I don't know about zombies, but I definitely know what were those nerds playing back in high school? Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Thank you. I think there was a creature there called like a flesh abomination or a golem or something like that. I know there's a clan that can make things like that. That's a form of ghoul that they
So-
specifically can make.
So at this point, you probably want to do another insight on Brenda.
Yeah. That is insight. Wits then?
That's up to the GM. It's reading Brenda's body language. What would that be?
I think insight plus manipulation.
Okay, manipulation. That is still
Or
2.
wits. I'm also fine with wits.
Manipulation, it's all 2 die anyway. Oh!
Okay, yeah. So it's going to be pretty clear to you three when you actually start talking about the flesh abominations and Zmitzi. This is when Brenda suddenly doesn't look like she's eagerly listening to everything you have to say, and she's avoiding eye contact and just kind of being like, let's move on to a different topic.
Brenda, would you have something to share with the group?
I'm pretty sure I shared quite clearly that I think our best option was making friends, but apparently there's all these rules where that's not allowed because the Second Inquisition is going to come and NSA us.
No, it's more of a thing that, to my understanding, for centuries, kindness has been a sign of weakness.
Cool. Well, call me crazy here because maybe I am. Maybe I'm one of those, what do you call them? Melks? Yeah, milk, whatever.
Malkavians is
Malkavian,
the
yeah.
golden term.
All right. So yeah, maybe I'm a Malkavian because call me crazy, but kindness and efficiency have a lot of overlap, maybe, but just because I'm not going to go around doing something stupid doesn't mean that I've got love and warmth and tenderness in my heart. I just don't like the alternatives, You get what I'm saying here?
Oh, no, probably. But yeah, this is... This has just been one really upsetting night.
Well, okay. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I could totally do some plastic surgery for you.
I don't think my current flesh handles well the knife as it will. I don't think it would settle. Sorry.
All right. Your choice. I mean, I'm not trying to deny you agency or do something against you without informed consent, but seriously, you seem pretty cut up about it. Sorry, she's rubbing off on me. She's rubbing. Brenda will point to Gwendolyn. What the hell was that?
Oh, squeaky door, cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Brenda will be like jokingly defensive, but seriously, I mean, it upsets you. That's pretty clear, and I don't mean to overstep, or offend. But we just met. I get that. I totally fucking get that. But you seem like you're awfully confident about this whole gang territory thing, so I respect that. I'm going to tell you, I'm really confident in my abilities to patch stuff like that up. And trust me, when I said I was practicing on cadavers, I get it. We're vampires. We're creatures of the night now. I'm very confident that I can help you. Seriously.
She sounds like a cheap car salesman right now.
Yeah, it is. It just sounds like.
I got an idea. Let's table all this stuff, the info dumps and all this sort of stuff for later. Right now, let's at least get a feel for the lay of the land. Assuming Amber leaves my hands in any sort of functioning condition, I'll try and write down a little bit of what I know in terms of words you may not have heard yet or anything like that, so that you guys can look over that. But right now, we don't want to be standing here when the sun comes up. So let's do what we need to do, and we'll talk more about all this later.
Yeah. Before we separate for the night, we should probably see what to come again to tomorrow, and he's gonna provide you all with names, woods, and stuff like that. I'll see about making a list over. The next time we get together of some of the gangs we should, if we want to try to do this Brenda's way, some of the more friendlier gangs and some of the gangs we need to just not try to make ties with.
And for what it's worth, Brenda, I'm all for trying that. At least as it's more a matter of we might need to be prepared if it fails. I mean, but I'm all for trying that as Plan A.
Yeah. Ernie's close. We can at least cover our eastern border, as it were. But I need to double check and get in contact with some of the others, and just make sure what do we have to worry about to the south and to the west.
All right. So in the meantime,
Teddy says, "Speak softly, but carry a big stick."
Teddy
Can
was
it be
a wise
shopping
man.
stick?
And
In Vampire, probably.
I'm sorry, but is the North I get it, it's docks, but are we sure that the Baroness isn't going to really stick it to some poor schlubs and give them the North Docks? And if I was forced to take that territory, I'd feel pretty inclined to take this territory.
Yeah, that is the point. That's why I said I wanted to try to get at least a take on what's nearby. As to the docks, that's sort of just no man's land currently. No one really has a claim to it yet. And I don't recall anybody I know of the kindred kind that lives out there. Maybe there's a Nosferatu or something that lives next to a sewer exit near there, but that's about it.
So, VT question: the docks to the north of what we're talking about, those are not active trading docks currently?
Oh, they totally are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we've got steel factories. We've got the beer plate. The beer gets shipped. We've got just a little bit to the west is actually a military base. It's very minor, but
ooh, that's gonna be a power base for somebody then.
Her Majesty's Canadian something. What's the S stand for? It's a naval base, and it's fully functional, but it is also a historic site because they have one of the old World War II attack vessels that's there as a museum.
Okay.
Is there?
If I may go then, you may all make me a finance roll plus intelligence.
Okay, that's 3. Question to VT: does that naval base have a Canadian version of the Coast Guard established there?
We're not on the ocean though. This is all internal.
Well, yeah, I think there would be some kind of at least waterway.
Well, yes, yeah.
Enforcement agency.
Police. The police have a dock that's just a little bit further down to the west. So, yeah, there's yacht clubs, and in the yacht clubs where it says the Pier 7 Boardwalk, that's where the police have their marine, like when something happens in the water, they have forensic and patrol vehicles parked there that are boats.
Okay. I was just curious in case, because I know even on the I just live on a major river that has a lot of traffic going up and down it, and I definitely know that they shipping ship any kind of thing that's shipping anything freight or otherwise, they occasionally get randomly stopped and get the cargo examined and stuff.
Well, okay, bear in mind, this is like the St. Lawrence River is this massive waterway that runs through Quebec and leads out to the ocean. Hamilton Harbor is the end of the St. Lawrence Riverway. So this is as secure as possible. All of those security checks happen way up in the Quebec area.
Okay. It definitely seems like somebody though would have power over somebody. Kindred like would definitely be on the military base, or at least having sway over that territory. Then, still, just for it to be a military base, still. I was just curious if they also had control over the waterway as well. Okay. So, pretty decent successes across the board. A bunch of 4s and 3s.
Mm-hmm. So that's one from Darius. He would not know much. That's 3 hits there. That's 1 from Mist, so she probably also wouldn't know. 3 from Brenda. Okay, so everyone with 3 hits or more. You realize Baroness Beatrice Fuller, basically one of her main income sources, at least how she came up in power, was through import-export business. So it might be that if anyone is interested in those harbors, would probably likely if you might have assigned that to someone that is fairly loyal to her.
Okay.
Or maybe just claimed it herself, who knows? You would have to investigate that.
Yeah, out of
Okay,
character,
so-
docks are pretty handy for vampires. You can't exactly get on a lot of public flights, so having a nice sealed cargo container can be a lovely way to travel from country to country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more I learn, the more this actually sounds like a primo piece of real estate.
The only downside is currently is the at the moment, at least looking at the Google Map bit you showed, VT, is the lack of things we can make use of. At the moment, all we have is a giant bar and some parks.
And residential, the Victorian Order of Nurses has their facility there. The Hamilton Fire Department has station number 30 there. There's some factories and some repair places for vehicles, recycling depot. I mean, if we get to be industrial moguls, we could go far.
Yeah, but Amber is more thinking short term at the moment that we can make immediate use of over long term plans.
But anyway, does anybody happen to know anything about this area on a more, let's say, street level, in terms of, where around here is regarded as particularly safe or dangerous, or places where people will or won't go at night?
I have a pretty decent streetwise.
As I think I do as well.
Okay, for those with decent streetwise, roll me that streetwise plus, I'm gonna say wits, intelligence, or let's give it another. Let's just say stamina for a weird reason.
For running the streets and all.
Yeah, because maybe you just hang around here so much that eventually you learn a thing or two.
Well, actually, her background as a bike messenger probably helps out with that too.
Oh shit!
Ah, yes, fair reason why stamina might be allowed.
I just found something else that's in our territory.
1 second.
Adult daycare center.
Old folks home.
No, more like
Oh, shit.
people with cognitive issues.
So 2 and 5.
Six
1,
hits
2,
on
3,
5 times.
Yeah, 7. Well done, missed.
Yeah, 7 hits. Mist, you know this area very well. And I live close here.
Yeah, okay. So, Mist, I'm probably going to give you some more information with starting next session, because I still have to basically, like, I'm going to assign rumors, threats, problems, all that type of things for in the territory along the week. But
And I'd be happy to help you with that.
Okay, well, we'll see if I can set something up. I know I might not have it all done before next week, but next week I will have 3 days off at least. So after Monday, so after that, yeah, I should have time to maybe plan a bit more. But Mist, you at least know that, yeah, the whole the industrial stores facilities, like people won't. Well, there will be no decent people about there during the night. The park is also not a it's not a like, yay, let's go to the park for a bit day. So there's not too people, especially at night, there won't be too many people wandering around there. Similar to the kind of, I don't know what exactly what is, but it's kind of the brownish area with the pond, I think, running down the middle of it. That's just north.
Sorry, can you point on the hunting map? Okay, yeah, that space. That is. I'll have to double check it, but there is the metal recycling plant right next to it. And what's that building on the corner? Yeah, I'll have to double check what that area is, but it looks like
it's open. It's not really a place people visit, and there won't be many animals or such around there either. So that might not be too interesting for you.
No, but a metal recycling center can be made used to hide a body.
Yeah, and maybe there might be some vampires there.
Actually, these great big open fields are great places to hide bodies, because you can do a shallow grave and people don't walk there that often, so who knows how long the body's been there.
Well, the
And the
main
metal
thing is,
recycling
though,
place-
is when... Oh, go ahead.
Looking at Google Earth, the metal recycling place would be just off to the east side of our little slice of home. This is basically a big open area that kind of backs up to it.
No, I was just thinking that dig a shallow grave, just leave the head out, and by daylight, all that's there is an ash pile in a hole.
Well, you're
Wow,
saying
already
a vampire.
planning some vampire murders here. Impressive.
Well, considering if sooner or later we are going to get in the eye of some vampire or other, so we need a way to figure out to clean up a body out of character.
But yeah, otherwise, it's the other areas are mostly residential, so you can figure out how much busyness is there at night. Maybe a little bit more when you get closer to that craft beer store.
And bear in mind,
yeah.
Burlington Street is a major road in Hamilton. Wellington Street is a pretty significant road. And
Okay.
so they will get a lot of vehicle traffic all night long. All night.
Okay.
Because those two roads are how because all those factories, they're 24-hour. Like they have to keep the steel works facilities running all the time, or else the furnaces will
Steel
collapse.
gets cold, and yeah.
Yeah. So these factories, like the beer craft, that won't run 24-hour, but they will have security guards on duty.
And it'll be extra busy on the weekends.
And when there's a concert, like that'll be going on till like 2 or 3 a.m. at night on the weekend. So that's something else. So this area isn't dead, but there's a lot of space where people don't go, but they drive past it or walk past it.
All right, so yeah, that seems like good information. And I think I want to leave it for there. Hopefully, next session we can do some more in-depth exploration, and I will also give, when that is more ready, I'll give Mist more information and rumors, and then yeah, you guys can then decide what to do. For now, I'm gonna say
find out if Amber's gonna kill Darius.
Yeah, we can get together some point of the week and do that if you want.
We'll see how my week goes.
And I think Al and Brenda, when they do the tour of the area, are probably going to play Pokemon Go at the same time.
Fair enough.
All right, then. So we're going to call it there?
Yeah, you guys would basically rest for the night, return to your havens, and I will give you all 10 experience points to spend.
Yay!
And for prizes on how much something costs to upgrade, as it were, you can look at the main book on page 137. There's a little, basically, the trade diagram for what everything costs.
So total, we've only had 10 experience?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I just rolled right now was for making that list of the various gangs that my character might be aware of, besides the No Life is like, you mentioned something called the Dark Rats earlier?
Honestly, I'm not sure. What I'm basically going to do, I'm going to map out the area around your territory and in your territory, see where I place rumors, secrets, that sort of thing, and then you guys can go explore and discover what's out there, and then decide on what type of thing do you want to tackle and how do you want to tackle it.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to roll that just so you know ahead of time, because I like that list I said Amber was going to do. I only got one hit, so...
Alright, so not too much information.
I probably at least know their names and just some very basic info about at least those that are nearby. Let's see here, 136.
But okay, that'll be something I'll go work with along the gate. So, good night everyone, and I hope you had fun either listening to this or playing this for my players.
Ta-ta!
Good night, everyone.
Good night.